So
Well, in some-
my answer to
yes, what is your
Conviz
answer?
would be is happiness is part of being Iranian.
I know some talented Iranians
Yes.
who feel in the West, outside of Iran, who feel concerned, like somebody who does something amazing, has a great success, or has won a medal or something like that, who have some concerns about putting that in their social media,
Yeah.
because they get attacked, because they say, how can you possibly be celebrating this and be so happy and have such a good life when there's people having such a
I
difficult
tell you
life
where
in,
that comes from.
in Iran? Tell me
I know
how you
where
feel
that's
about
come
that.
from. During the Iran-Iraq war, the way the suppression worked in Iran was this comparison, that we are dying in the front line and you're doing this.
Right.
Because the government wanted to impose the Islamic idea. So I remember wearing a short sleeve. Was, why are you doing that? What are we doing there? So that idea, which is quite a wrong comparison. Because I remember Marilyn Monroe went to front line, in Vietnam, and sang with a sexy clothes. So everybody wants to have fun. Everybody wants to be happy. And you cannot make this unusual cutting, slashing, putting things together, which is a very unfair comparison. Because there was unfairness was part of the ruling government, that unfairness showed itself. So people got used to it, because you can always chezundan. You can always destroy someone by making this comparison. So to me, when they say that, I say that's the most stupid thing. Because it's like when you're when you're eating something, suddenly compare your asshole to your mouth. That it is there. It's doing a different function. You're doing a different function. Every part does a different function. So my part in society is, no matter how many people are dying, I still do celebrate Iranian culture, and I do still do
accomplishments.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, first of all, the whole idea is obviously I get where it comes from. It's and it can be. It doesn't even have to be just Iranian.
Yes.
When somebody who has material wealth, for example, flouts their look at my fancy shoes that you could never buy.
Yeah.
There is a bit of an Iranian thing that is
No, that has
up.
been imposed.
I don't get why.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get why people have to post pictures of their
Because
fancy cars. And stuff.
Because the rulers pushed that into the society. They injected that this is a correct way of thinking, which is quite a bad way.
Well, I get, but it's untenable to think that, I'm really enjoying this wonderful meal that my husband made, and I want to take a picture of it, but I better not, in case somebody in Shiraz gets upset because they don't have as nice a meal. I mean, come on, we can't. That's not.
Yeah. I
can't
think
really
the reason
live that
is
way, right?
societies. When you go to Sweden, the culture is very unified. You see a taxi driver to the, prime minister, they have very similar cultures. In the societies with the dictatorship and years of neglect, you see the culture is there's so many layers, and they are not talking to each other, and there is no unified. You get extremes, and that is because the country has failed.
Yeah.
And we are living with that, because our governments for years and years tried to do something. They either didn't know how to do it, or they got wasted, or they just had a completely wrong idea, or trying to push people to think the way they want to see. Because of that, is a neglected society feels that way.
But
we need more culture.
But the flip side of it is, I mean, the flip side of it would be, when there's when something bad happens in the West, there's a school shooting in America.
Yes.
Or, I mean, an extreme example, but a very notable one would be 9/11.
Yes.
And when 9/11 happened, that horrible, the planes hit the World Trade Center, September 11th in 2001, there was a conversation that happened even in the United States for a few days after that about, is it possible to make jokes anymore? There was Jon Stewart came out, a few people came out and said, I can't even do my monologue tonight. It's too difficult. This is not a time when we can express any sort of content. And then they were talking, is this the death of satire? We're never going to be able to joke about anything anymore, because it was such a horrible event that it felt like a disservice to the victims to be joking around or high-fiving or having a great meal or whatever. Sure. That, of course, faded after a few weeks, and people went back to their normal lives, and there's a memorial there. I feel like for some Iranians, understandably, depending on what's happened to them, that is every day.
Yes.
That is every day.
There's
And
still
so
a war.
when Kambiz Hosseini was on the show a couple of years ago or last year, he said something quite provocative where he said, I think people, it's irresponsible for Iranians to be happy. Which, I mean...
He was joking, yeah?
No.
Oh, he was serious.
No, he on some level, I mean, he defended it, you know?
I think it tells you something.
But the idea of like 100 million Iranians running around the world are not, and Iran are not allowed to ever be happy.
Yeah, I have an answer to that.
Yes.
Because we have lost our roots. That's why I think that our roots gives very clear guidelines to all these confusions we have about our daily life. Darius the first one. When he was the ruler of Egypt, the pharaoh, there's a cuneiform remained from him, which I can give you just a simplified version.
Sure.
Is God created skies, the earth, and happiness for people. You know, our root of Iranian society is about happiness. Okay, and we have so many examples that we lived by celebrations, and that was the root of our society. But after it's done, things changed dramatically, and we still are with this tazad, this contradiction we live, and it shows itself in different ways. Don't show our food to these people, other people are not happy
Don't
with it,
dance on
as if we
video.
are caring for them, but it's
Right.
more about fear, about this part of society
Right.
fearing the other parts. So people are not together, they're all separated, they're divided since those days. And if we go back to our roots, because we are Iranian humans, Iranos homo erectus, and then because of that we know in this kind of situation how should we react, and we should adapt and translate our culture into these new events that are happening in the world or in our society. So
Well,
my answer to
yes, what is your
Kambiz
answer?
would be is happiness is part of being Iranian.